bullets, ballistics, and a 2015 bus shooting.
That was the focus today in rapper Young Thug's trial. Atlanta News First Rachel Aragon was there in the Fulton County courtroom when a witness testified about a shooting involving another well-known rapper.
Rachel, the state is trying to tie Young Thug to that shooting that happened nearly a decade ago.
The state once again bringing back into the spotlight that 2015 rapper Lil Wayne tour bus shooting. They're making the argument that Jeffrey Williams, aka rapper Young Thug, had some kind of role in that 2015 shooting. But once again, the rapper's defense attorneys say that is simply not the case.
The supervisor on duty called me and basically said a tour bus was shot up.
The 2015 rapper Lil Wayne tour bus shooting, once again the focus in the YSL trial.
We knew that there was a celebrity on board.
But instead of hearing from one of the bus drivers like the jury did last week, they heard from a former Cobb County police officer who investigated the shooting.
Okay, so this first one that you handed me is the projectile that was collected from the interior of bus number 1.
The state is trying to link Young Thug, aka Jeffrey Williams, to the shooting. They claim he's the leader of the alleged YSL gang, which they say carried out these violent crimes. To try to prove their case, they asked a former Cobb County investigator about phone records around the time of the 2015 shooting.
YSL Enterprises.
For months, defense attorneys have said YSL is not a gang and that Williams has nothing to do with the 2015 tour bus shooting or any other crimes the state has highlighted in court.
You have no reason to tell this jury, no personal knowledge that Jeffrey Williams was in any form or fashion involved with your carjacking on that day, true?
That's correct.
Right now to return tomorrow afternoon when the trial resumes to continue his testimony. Reporting live in downtown Atlanta, Rachel Aragon, Atlanta News First.
Atlanta News First remains dedicated to covering this trial for you until a verdict is reached. We are streaming the testimony every day on ANF Plus. You can watch it on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and YouTube.